we don't want to get to the point where he does something. I'm like, that's what I've been trying to say though. Hey guys, what's up? It's Lexi and your girl's back, and it's spooky season, so I really wanted to make sure to upload at least 1 or 2 videos this month. I have a few planned out that I'm really excited for, so I hope you guys like it. So today's video is going to be a stalker update and a paranormal update. I didn't think I would be doing this so quick, like right after I filmed that last video, but I guess here we are. But before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. You can join our little spooky fam. We do everything paranormal, everything supernatural, and everything spiritual. I'm also gonna leave my playlist up here and down below if you're interested. Anyway, let's just get into it. So if you didn't watch my last video, it's called Life Update. I talked about a bunch of stuff. A few things that I talked about was a stalker and how I had this guy bothering me for the last few months. So quick recap, a few months ago, this guy was outside, like walking back and forth in front of the house. He comes up to my husband and asks him if he knows about a white girl with a big behind who lives in one of these houses. He knows she lives in one of these houses and he just wants to talk to her. My husband looked at him and started cussing him out, telling him to get the fuck out of here. I never want to see your face here again. And we didn't see him for a while. Well, a few weeks ago, after Rob was already arrested, I was outside with my neighbor. He was helping me with something and we kept seeing this guy walking back and forth. Later on, I'm in front of my door. I see this guy coming like pretty close to the door, so I go inside and he screams something. He says, "Good night, sweetie." That night he comes by and starts banging on my window, and he banged on the window for like 10-15 minutes. This is something that continued to happen. At around 1 a.m. he would come by, he'd bang on the window, he'd bang on the door, and then after a few times he started doing that and then would start saying, "Let me in." So it got very scary very quickly. So I called the cops. I couldn't get a hold of them. I ended up making a police report, but they couldn't really do anything because every time that I would call, he was gone already. So there's nothing that I could really do. Even though I had caught him on camera, like being really weird. So I make the report anyway. I kind of leave it at that. I don't see him for a few days. After that is when I end up filming that video. I upload it. Things are okay for like I think it was 2 to 3 days. And then something else happened. I was home with Feather and she kept like whining, wanting to go outside. I don't know why I had this gut feeling. It's still light outside, mind you. I walk this way where there's an alleyway and I see a man quickly going straight and then turning into the alley. It looked just like the guy, but I didn't see his face, so I'm like, was it him? Was it not? Whatever. I leave it alone. I get Feather inside and I just don't want to come out. We stay inside, and then around 10-11 p.m. she has to go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go outside with her. I didn't even think to look out the window because Feather didn't bark. I go outside and this man is standing right in front of my door. Right in front of my door, facing the other way.
When I came out to see him, he looked like he'd been out there waiting a while. He was drinking a can of beer. It was super weird.
So I see him, and before he can turn around, I walk past him. I go to my neighbor's house and I'm praying that his fucking door is open. I'm like, oh my fucking god, oh my fucking god. I hear him walking behind me and he starts saying, hey, come here, hey, come here. I fucking freaked out and I just kept walking. I ignored him. I go to the back. The gate is opened. I walk back there and my neighbor is there. Thank God. I tell him, the guy's out there. The guy's fucking out there right now. He was outside of my door. So my neighbor's like, hold on, I'll be right back, stay here. He goes outside I hear him ask me, like, who are you? What do you want? Why do you keep coming around here? And I keep hearing him repeat the question, but I don't hear another voice. So I'm like, is he saying anything? Is he gonna try to fight him? So I'm just kind of listening, and I hear him turn around and start walking towards me. He comes in the gate, he's like, okay, well, the guy left. He's not gonna be bothering you anymore. And I'm like, okay. He's like, just to be safe, like, wait with me. We'll wait like 10 minutes and then I'll walk you back. I'm like, okay, cool. We wait. He walks me back over there and I don't see anybody. I'm like, okay, good. Like, I think we're good. So I come in, and like 2 minutes later, I hear the knocking at the door. I'm like, oh my fucking God, man. I'm terrified. I'm frozen. So I call my neighbor again. I'm like, dude, he's out here. Like, he's out here. So he's like, you need to call the cops. I'll come out there right now. And like, I'll bring my, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay. I start calling the cops. By the time my neighbor comes to my door, the guy is gone again. So I'm still on the phone with the cops. It took me so long to finally get to somebody. I started explaining the situation. They transferred me to the non-emergency number just because the guy had left. Again, I tell them everything that's going on. I'm like, this guy keeps showing up at my house. It's been going on for a few weeks now. It's really scary. Like, he knows where I live. Can you guys send someone, like, so I can talk to a cop? Like, I would feel a lot safer if I did. So they're like, yeah, we'll see if we can send someone. They finally sent someone out. This cop was one of the nicest cops that I'd ever spoken to. Very understanding, very empathetic with me. Like, he understood that I was scared. So I start giving him all my information, start telling the description. He even gave me his email so I can send those videos, send pictures, like close-up pictures of him. So I did all of that. He gives me his card. He's like, okay, is there any way that you could stay somewhere else? I'm like, yeah, you know, I'll see if like my mom can pick me up or something. The cop was like, I'm gonna drive around and we'll see if we can pick him up. At this point, he hasn't broken in. We can't really investigate. If you ID him, you can put a restraining order on him, but as of right now, we don't have that information. So I'm like, well, fuck. My other neighbor, who usually helps me, I had told him everything. He finally gets there. He's like, did you call the cops? Did you give them a report? I'm like, yes. My neighbor comes up. We get a new Ring camera set up for me. It's a shared camera on both sides. So that made me feel a lot safer. So while we're setting it up, my other neighbor comes out. I start explaining the situation. I tell him this is what he looks like. Let me know if something happens. He's like, okay. So I have 2 people with me. As we're talking, I see the fucking guy. He slowly walks past one of the cars. He looks in. He sees me. He looks like he's about to walk into the walkway, like to get to me. And then he sees the other guys behind me. So he walks out, walks backwards, and like takes a last peek and then just keeps walking. I'm like, look, there he is. So both neighbors that I was standing with, they go around, and then the other neighbor that was inside that went and got his, you know, he comes out. They start confronting him. The first time that my one neighbor confronted him, he told me straight up, he's drunk and he's high. He had a can of beer with him, and then he had another bag with alcohol in it. Very obviously drunk, very obviously high. He's not in his right mind. So that makes it even scarier. So they go to confront him, and this weirdo, instead of just like walking away from them or like turning around and like talking to them, he goes around my car. He acts like he's gonna walk across the street, like he starts looking across like he's gonna jaywalk, and then he comes back, kind of stands there, just stares at me for a little bit, and I recorded it. And while they're talking shit to him, finally, like something clicks in him, and then he starts walking towards the alleyway where I had seen him earlier. So he starts walking that way. They're still talking shit to him, like, why the fuck do you keep coming around here? What's your name? Who are you? Why do you keep bothering her? He does not say a word. I call the cops again. I tell them that he's back and he's being really weird. It's obvious he's drunk. After a few minutes, my neighbors come back and I'm like, what happened? Like, did he say anything? They're like, no. He gets on the phone. He starts calling somebody. So he walks into the alleyway and a few seconds later, a Dodge Charger, a black one, pulls in. He gets in the car and they leave. So they're just standing there. They're like, what the fuck? So they all come back. And I guess when they were out there, my other neighbor called the cops too. So we're both waiting for the cops. The cops get there. And right after, another Dodge comes up and it's a detective. So now they're like, okay, we have to take this seriously. Like, it's obvious that this guy's bothering you. He's coming by every night. He's getting scary. They start talking to me about everything. Like, now, because he's doing this, you can move it all the way up to a prowler. Get a restraining order against him, press charges, so we can get him off the streets. I start talking to him about the black Dodge Charger that we had just seen this guy get into. And as I'm telling him this, the Dodge Charger comes around. They stop right by the cop cars. The guy rolls the window down and sticks his head out of the window and gives me the dirtiest fucking look, the scariest look. It reminded me of Matt, the way that he used to look at me when he was trying to like unalive me. It was the same look. I'm fucking freaking out. Now he sees that I had to call the cops. All my neighbors and I were like, that was him. Like, that's the car he was just picked up in. The cop's like, I'm gonna go after that. I just need to send you something. I need you to upload all these files and I need you to send it to this other email because now this is gonna be an investigation because this is ridiculous. We don't want to get to the point where he does something. I'm like, that's what I've been trying to say though. I'm just glad that they're trying to help me this time. So after all of that, I'm freaking out. I ended up leaving that night. I was just so scared to come home. I was so fucking afraid. The Ring doorbell camera has helped a ton with my anxiety, but it's been so fucking scary having to deal with that. Now I'm just paranoid that he's gonna come back and do something to me. And that's what I kept saying, like, oh my God, he's gonna come back and he's gonna do something to me. Especially when I had first walked out, I heard him coming after me. It was dark and my first thought was, he's going to grab me, he's gonna push me into the corner, and he's going to blank and blank me. That's what kept running through my mind and I was freaked the fuck out. Like I said, there is like an investigation going. I'm not here by myself all the time. Tonight was one of the first nights that I've been by myself. But I'm just trying to stay vigilant, not leave, not go outside so much. I've even been working extra, like working longer just to stay there. So I'm just hoping that it simmers down. Since that happened, knock on wood, he hasn't been back. But that's also what I said in the last video. So let's just hope that this is the last of it and that he's just like, okay, she's gonna call the cops on me, like I better leave her alone. I mean, thankfully I do have a lot of people that support me, they protect me, especially my neighbors. Like, all these houses, all these neighbors, they know my situation, they know what's going on. I have their numbers and like I've called them all like, hey, this guy's out here, and they've all been there in a second. So I'm really lucky I have that. I have my family, my mom, I have protection, so I'm gonna be okay. It's just a really scary situation to be in as a woman, especially with my new situation, but we'll see, I guess. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is the paranormal update. In that last video, I had said that I hadn't had a lot of paranormal stuff happen, like, at all. The only paranormal stuff that I had dealt with was the stuff that I had uploaded already a few months ago. Actually, it's been like 2 months at least. I'm gonna tell you guys a few things. It's not that much stuff, but it's just a few things here and there that have happened since I filmed that last video. Like I said, I hadn't been dealing with this stuff at all, and suddenly this stuff just started again. So let's get into it. So if you have seen my old videos, like my part one of the things that would happen is that the light would turn on, especially like on my side in the room. It would flicker here and there, and then it started turning on every morning and then would turn on when I actually needed it. Another thing that was happening consistently was us losing our cigarettes and lighters. That started happening again, which is so fucking annoying. It's so frustrating. Like I said in that video, I had said that there's like a playful spirit. Weirdly, now that Rob isn't here, I don't know, I feel like that spirit is here again. It feels really weird to say, but it does. It feels like that spirit is back, and it feels like a fatherly figure that's like protecting me, like taking my cigarettes from me, like turning the light on. Sometimes I'll be sleeping and I see it turn on. I wake up, I look at the time, and it's right before my alarm's gonna go off. So it's little things like that that are just super weird. Another thing is that things have been falling off the shelves again, which stopped. That hadn't happened in so long. The stuff that was falling out was stuff that was making such a loud bang that would just startle the fuck out of me, and I would get mad. The other day, I was just in here and it was dead quiet. It was so fucking quiet. Something falls and just smashes on the floor. And I turn around and I almost swung. I was so pissed. It scared the fuck out of me again because I'm a little pussy. The thing where I had said that like I hear like a bang coming from the roof, from the ceiling, and then the whole place shakes. That has happened a few more times, maybe 2-3 more times. Also, the night that I had filmed that last video, I was taking my makeup off in the bathroom and I kept hearing something outside, and it was like a clicking noise, and then I started hearing tapping, banging, and I'm like, what is that? I come out here, I'm still trying to listen, and it gets louder, and then I like freak out. I'm like, oh my god, what if it's the fucking guy like breaking into my car right now or trying to get into the window? So I go out there, I like open the door. Stupid fucking me. Why would I do this? I slowly open the door. No one's out there. No one's out there, and the noises stop. So I come back and I'm like, I don't know what that was, but that was very odd. Oh my god, one of the scariest things that had happened, this was, I think like a week and a half ago now. I was in bed and it was like 7 or 8 p.m. It wasn't too late. You know, I was feeling some type of way, all sad. I'm sitting back there on my phone and I hear in a very gentle, very soft female voice say my childhood nickname. And it kind of sounded like my mom, but it kind of didn't. But I heard it, and it wasn't outside this time. It sounded like it was in the room with me. Like someone was in the fucking room with me and said the name. And I just looked up and I was like, I didn't want to say anything. You're not supposed to like react or reply to it or say yes or what. So I didn't do any of that. I just put my phone away and I just ended up trying to fall back asleep. And the last thing that had happened was either last night or the night before. I haven't really been sleeping well. I either like wake up in the middle of the night or I just can't sleep, so I'm just scrolling. I finally get a little sleepy. I lay down and I pass out. I go to sleep. And then I suddenly wake up. There's no noise, no feeling, nothing. I sit up and I'm looking around. The lights were off already. Usually I keep my door shut so I don't have to look out here because I'm a pussy, like I said. But the door was opened this time. I looked out here, there's only one light on, and I see something actually right behind there. I see this shape, and it kind of looked like a cloud. It was like a dark blue, blackish thing. It was like smoke kind of, but really opaque. So it was kind of moving around, and it was like folding into itself and just kind of swirling around, and it was like maybe this big, and it was up, like it was up pretty high. It didn't make me feel any type of way. It didn't make me feel sad, mad, negative, nothing. So I'm just looking at it for a second, and it starts folding into itself and getting smaller, and then it just disappears. So I look at it and I'm like, so I end up going to sleep. So I go to sleep, I slept normal, I wake up in the morning, and I really thought about it. For some reason, I keep thinking it's a sign of some sort. Like it reminded me of a cloud. Something is telling me like, you have this cloud over your head and I need to get out of it. Like get out of this funk. Because I am in like a funk. it's just weird not having my husband, especially in this weird ass situation. Like, but yeah, it's just a really weird situation, and it sucks that I'm having to deal with this without my husband. And again, this just happened, so I'm like, I don't know. I feel like this was a sign to like get my shit together, you know? So I'm hoping that things get better. I know they'll get better. It's already the end of the year, you know, it's gonna be like new year, new me, and then Halloween's coming up, which I'm so excited for. So I'll be okay. But that's pretty much everything that's happened. If anything else happens, I will update you guys. Like I said, I do have a few more ideas that I want to share with you guys. I hope you guys like this video, and I can't wait to post more. If you subscribe, thank you. Thank you for all your sweet messages, your sweet comments. I really appreciate you guys supporting that video. I was so nervous to post it. I had said that before. But oh my god, everyone made me feel so good. So thank you. I really appreciate that. It really means a lot. I'll see you guys so soon, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.